And so, welcome everybody to our Business Minds Coffee Chat. Thank you all for joining us today. We are going to be recording this as well. So, for those that aren't able to join us live, you will be able to watch this on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn as well. And we'll post that video as soon as we wrap up our chat. So, on today's episode, I am super excited. We have certainly one of my favorite people in this community. Erica is not only a mother, a wife, a real estate professional. She is the queen rock star of them all. So with that said, I wanted to introduce Erica Sobin. Erica, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here. Jay, that was quite the introduction. I don't know if I can live up to that, but
I've seen you in action and I know you can. So if we could, why don't we just start, if you would give us just a short overview of who you are and what you do.
I am a real estate professional here in Flagler County, and that's my day job. That's what I love doing, helping buyers and sellers in the real estate transactions. I am on the ATeam, and my broker is Coldwell Banker, and we are the on-site brokerage at all the luxury communities here in the Hammock. So kind of as my little hobby that I have, though, is networking, my Rockstar networking that we do once a month, a meet and greet, mix and mingle for business professionals in the area. That's how Jay and I met. And I love doing that. And that's just been one of the greatest tools that I've ever used to get to know people in this area. And I love the community that we have there.
So a couple of things just to dig a little deeper. First of all, how long have you been in the real estate market?
I got into real estate almost 2 years ago. So I've been doing it for 2 years here in Flagler County. The ATeam has been here 20 years here in Flagler County.
That's okay.
I have dogs and children running around, so I apologize about that.
No worries.
Yeah, so I've been doing that, and then Rockstar Networking has been, we celebrated, it's about 1.5 years we've been doing that as well.
And the ATeam, tell us a little bit about the ATeam, who makes up the ATeam?
So it's Anthony Lombardo and Andy Kalkunis, and they have been together partners here in Flagler County real estate for over 20 years. They're top 5 real estate agents here, and they just do an incredible job, had an incredible mentorship program, and our paths just crossed at the right time. And Anthony was the one that brought me on, and we've just meshed so well, and really building on their legacy that they and their families have built. But they've been superstar professionals in a down market here in Flagler County, raising families on, and their wives are both teachers here in the county. And so they were providing for their families on a downward turn market. It was really hard. A lot of the stories that they've expressed and going through those hard times here in real estate and that's the main source of your income. It was really difficult. And they've seen everything, and they've done construction all the way, general real estate, everything. And I just knew that it was the right partnership and the right move for me and what I was looking for.
So what brought you to real estate to begin with? And then I'm just curious how you did actually connect with them.
So my father is a financial planner. Mm-hmm. That's the background that I come from. and I've always worked for him. He has an office up in the Rural Golf Village area, and it's First Financial Education Centers. He's been there for forever. And I worked my different things all the way through the company I've been a part of. But the main thing I was doing before I came to real estate was event coordinating. He brings agents in from all over the country. They come in twice a month and they do a 3-day training at our office facility. And I coordinate all of that to happen. So that's what I was doing right before real estate. My brother and his girlfriend had been doing some real estate, flipping homes is what they did. And my brother challenged me to get my real estate license, see if I could do it. And I did. And that's when my paths met with Anthony Lombardo. And I just felt like it was the right move. It was kind of very sudden. I was just going to get my license and decided this is what I wanted to do. So I restarted a career.
So it was fortuitous.
Yeah.
So you got into real estate on a challenge.
Yes.
How about that? I love that. That's very cool. So you and I have talked about this a little bit in the past. You know, in our area, and we happen to be in the Flagler County area of Florida, it is a very, very crowded space for the real estate community.
Yeah.
And when I think about what you've done with Rockstar, and I think about businesses looking at ways to differentiate themselves and separate themselves from the pack and doing things differently, how did Rockstar come about, and what was the motivation for you, and how, kind of walk us through, if you will? Was that something that you just were super hungry to do? Were you very comfortable with doing it? Because you've grown that exponentially. So I'm just curious to take it back a bit to when you first started and what that was like.
Yeah, so I had a friend in South Florida that was utilizing Rockstar Connect for his financial planning business. And I got introduced to the concept. He was doing really great with it. And like I said, I had just started this in April, will be 2 years. And this was my first year. It came around, and I had my first event the following July. But I got introduced to the idea. He was doing really great, and it's exactly what you just said. I realized really quickly that I was in a very small town with, you know, I don't know, 1,500, 2,000 agents.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to have to do something to jumpstart this, since I just jumped in with both feet. I just decided to do it. No, I wasn't comfortable with it at all. But I knew I wanted to bring small businesses together. Like I said, I come from a small business background. Both grandparents, my parents were all small business owners and entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And I love small business. I mean, it's what I grew up in. Even though I didn't have one per se myself, I grew up in a home where that's what we talked about at dinner. Like, I left school. I didn't babysit growing up. I didn't do any of those things. I came from school to my dad's office, and I took out the trash. I cleaned the restrooms. I stocked the fridge. For drinks for the clients when they came in, I filed. I helped my mom with her taxes. Like, I did those entrepreneur and small business owner details. It was very much a part of my life. And we stayed there till my dad had seen all his clients, and I cleaned the office up, and we went home, and I finished my homework and, the next day. So I have a very special place in my heart for small business and entrepreneurs. I mean, I remember the talks we'd have at dinner about how the tax burden and everything that they go through, just the daily struggles of that. I've watched my parents, I've watched them almost get their car repossessed. I've watched us not have money for Christmas. I've watched a struggling family try to reinvent and new ideas to launch something else to see. It's been really good, but I've seen it crash and burn too. I've also experienced them. They had 15 employees. I've watched them charge on their credit card things so that they could pay their employees when they had hard times when money wasn't coming in. I know the struggles and the some people look at entrepreneurs and business owners like, oh, they have it all. They have this, brick and mortar, and they get the limelight for all of that, but you don't really know. And I experienced that firsthand. People thought that things were not what they were. And I just know and have lived the struggle and know the financial burden that they really do go through and they really do have to give those opportunities to the employees that they have, and that it's so important to them. They're not thinking about themselves, they're thinking about the employees underneath them. And I've watched that play out time and time again. And I just have a special place in my heart for that. And I knew Palm Coast is just a little bit funky in the fact that everybody's not from here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So everybody's from somewhere else. But it can be a little cliquey. Like when I got, it was like I couldn't get in to get to know anybody. And I didn't I would try, but I was like, I still feel like I don't know anybody here. And that was 3 years of living here. And so I just felt like it was the right thing to do at the time. I didn't know of any other networking groups when I started mine. Girl Scouts honor on the Bible, that I swear to God, that's the truth. And I just started it, and it's just been great. And every month we've had a growing group and people that I've never attended before, and it's just been a great thing for me and for the community, I feel like.
Well, it's pretty clear when someone meets you for the first time that there's something very special about you. There's something that is just that's resonating inside your heart, that desire to give, that desire to connect others with other like-minded people. So I watch and I observe when I go to Rockstar, and I see you in action. And I think where you truly shine is when you see someone who hasn't, it's their first time there, and you want so badly for that person to have the greatest experience, and you're trying to figure out, I can almost see your mind go, the gears turning, trying to figure out, how do I connect this person with someone else that can create something beautiful? And you really, the way you walk around, the way you'll grab somebody and introduce them to somebody over here, it's quite amazing. And I'll tell you, Erica, that is a gift. Not everyone has the ability to do that, and not everyone is coming from the same place when they go to these networking events. So I've always found them very, very beneficial. And so much of that has to do with the way that you lead and the way that you show up to those events. So it's amazing.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm curious, you mentioned before you started Rockstar that you were trying to figure out different ways to differentiate, and you tried several different things that maybe you got a little bit of traction, but it didn't quite work the way that you wanted it to. What were one or two things that you tried, just out of curiosity, that didn't quite pan out?
Well, I mean, gosh, I can't even remember what I tried before. It seems like the whole thing has, it's just starting in April and then launching Rockstar in July. It was pretty quick that we started that. And that's not everything. It's definitely email marketing that we've done. We do mailers as well. Um, um, we've done a lot of different marketing pieces, definitely social media and everything been a huge player in what we've been able to accomplish, and something that I took on from the ATeam was kind of rolling out and bringing Shanice with Social Media by Shanice onto our team, and having her launch and a whole social media because we didn't have an Instagram, we didn't have, they had a Facebook page, but it really wasn't running the way that we needed it to, and just bringing all those pieces together. But besides before Rock, I don't even remember what I tried or what didn't work. But
That's
I
okay.
feel
But
like,
you were scrapping. You were trying to figure out
yes,
anything that you could do
absolutely.
to get your name out there.
Yes. And I wasn't comfortable doing, like you said, I actually never went to one. I mean, I heard about it. I got in, and I, you know, I grabbed it with both hands, and I just took the bull by the horns, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And I talked to a videographer, and I'm like, hey, can you come down here and record this so that I can post on social media? Like, I was just trying to create the hype behind the idea. And I mean, I shared the bloopers video on, I don't know if you got a chance to see that, but
I did. I loved it.
that was all that happened like the day before. Like, I'm standing out there sweating. I'm trying to make the people behind the camera laugh, because that's what I do when I'm nervous. I just make people laugh because it gets the spotlight off me that I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm just out there sweating, trying to read this stupid like teleprompter, and and try to create something that I could share later that helped with the hype. Trying to get people to come to something. I mean, I grew up in church. I've said that before. I was trying to get rid of something on my screen. Sorry. And they would have, it was really old fashioned type of church. But anyway, you would go out and invite people to church, and they would have Pack a Pew Sunday. And I always tell people I don't want to toot my own horn, but I won Pack a Pew Sunday every now and then. So I can definitely create hype, and I can definitely get people to get somewhere. You know what I mean? And I felt like, above anything else, I felt like Palm Coast needed that. Like, I had not experienced that here in the community. There are other people that I met, Shanna, so she was here the same amount of time. I would meet people at the park that have been here 2 and 3 years, and they would say the same thing to me. I don't really know anybody here. And I'm like, if I'm having a problem and these people are, then there's a need for it in the community. And yes, obviously it's a way for me to get my name out about what I do and what I offer to do. And to get to know me. It's all built on relationships. That's what we say. And people getting to know who you are and trusting you as somebody that can help them. And, perhaps they'll throw your name in the pot when they're talking about realtors. I mean, that's all I can hope.
Well, that caring personality definitely comes out, and I see it, and I know that all of those around you see it as well. So let's shift gears for a moment, because we're in an unusual time. Obviously, you're working from home. I'm also working remotely right now. So how do you feel about what's happening right now? What is going through your mind? How are you dealing with the daily challenges that you face of now being at home versus having an office to go to, and you've got children and family and whatnot? So tell me about that, if you don't mind.
Oh, well, it's all changed. So yeah, the game plan that I had, I don't know, January, February is not the same game plan I have now, and it's ever changing over the last 2 weeks. Of course, at first it was like, okay, this is a pause. Let me get stuff down around my house that I don't, we all have that list of things that need to be done. I pressure washed, I did this, I cleaned out this closet. Then it was like, oh my gosh, the kids are coming home, and now I'm responsible for their education, which is like, 3 kids and they have like so many teachers each, and now it's virtual and now they're home all day. It's just a complete shift. It's been insane. It's been crazy. I don't think anybody that says, that they're not freaking out is probably lying, because it's been a bit of a freak out this whole time. But I think one of the good things is that we're going through it together. There's not one person on this planet that isn't going through this. We're doing it together and the best that we can. I do like to stay positive. I'm always sharing positive things on my social media platforms. That's important to me. I do want to stay positive in this time for sure, because hopeful that we're going to get through this, that there is, that we're going to be better for it when we come out of it. I think something that it's shown me is, I don't know, there's been moments that it's been really hard. There's been moments where I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can fix this and fix this. And then I have definitely moments of loss. I feel in some ways I'm grieving the life that I had, or the job, all these things that we're very passionate about, that we talk about, your business, everyone's business, that they've given their lives for, that they work so hard for, that they plan for, they market, they have events coming up that they were planning. I feel like the entire world is feeling a loss and they're grieving, whether it was a wedding, a graduation, a baby that they've been planning for, and nobody can go to the hospital. I have a client that had a wedding and it's just done. My niece actually was getting married. I was supposed to be at the wedding and nobody could be there but 10 people. The photographer couldn't even come. I mean, these are real things that people can never get back, really, honestly. They said, well, we're going to go ahead and have the wedding, and then at a later time when it's better, we'll have everybody back. But you know what? It won't be the same.
Sure.
And it's just so many things like that. I had a client of mine lose so much money in the stock market. He was ready to buy a house, ready to pull the trigger on it, and now he can't. I have a listing right now. The man has been in lockdown in assisted living. And now he's locked down in his room. He can't even leave his room, and he's going so stir crazy. And, just talking to him. And I think the biggest thing has been for me is to utilize this time to call my clients, to check on my friends, the elderly people in my life, my elderly clients, asking if they need anything. Do they need me to go to the store? They need me to pick up a prescription. I mean, these are things that when you don't know what to do, I do one or two things. I get down, but what always lifts me out of that is I will stop and think to myself, what can I do right now for somebody? And the minute I get done doing that thing, whatever, and I'm not saying it's a huge thing, I'm saying a small thing, something, a text, something, it just gets your eyes off your problems and makes you see above it. And it brings you out of the pit that you're in. And I just wanted to say that in case, because it's, I don't want to take away of the heaviness of the issue by just being positive. And I did not want to get on here and just be like, oh, just hustle, hustle, hustle. I've always been hustling. I mean, that I'm a hustler at heart. That's my thing. But right now we've been taken out. It's been cut in a lot of ways. And we have to think about things maybe a little bit differently. Maybe there's some, internal work that needs to be done. Maybe I need to stop and have some quiet time. Maybe I don't need to be on here yelling at everybody to hustle and doing an extra workout. Maybe I need to be sitting somewhere listening to a podcast, doing the work on the inside. I think everybody deals with everything differently, and there's no right or wrong way based on your circumstance. But I don't want, our viewers and the people of our community to ever discount that this is a hard time and we're all going through it together. And you know, to go deeper maybe and what needs to happen, to read, to meditate. And Jay, you and I have talked about that before. I mean, you've been so amazing to me personally over this journey. I mean, I mean that sincerely. You've been such a great, great person and such a great resource. And I think you're from the same mold. I mean, I attribute everything that I've learned in business to my father. And he's always, it takes money to make money, and people remember how you make them feel, not what you do. And I think that is something that you know, the first time I met you, there's very few people that you meet in just a small conversation and you're like, jaw drop. You know what I mean? Like, they stop you in your tracks. Like, I meet a lot of people and talk to them, and there's not a lot of people that are like, I mean, besides your voice, which is amazing.
Oh, you're
but
too kind.
but your demeanor and the way that you're so caring, and so you are such a blessing to our community, and I look to you as a leader for sure. And you're doing a great job with I'm so glad that you're doing these things, because to me it feels like more people are going to get to know who you are, and that's a blessing for all of us.
Well, you're very kind, and I appreciate that. You hit on a couple very powerful points, and the way you articulated it was fantastic. But I want to highlight a couple of things that you said. One is service to others. So when we're down, when we're feeling that there's a lot of pressure and we are not quite sure what we can do, how do we lift ourselves up? The way that we do that is we lift others up. And when you do that with no expectation for anything in return, you're doing this for the sole purpose of trying to create ripples, right? Trying to just help other people. And it is amazing what happens in your own life when you do that. So thank you for mentioning that. And the other thing is self-care. And no matter how you're processing what's going on right now in the world, self-care is so critically important. Taking those moments to breathe deeply, taking those moments to meditate, if that's your thing, prayer, if that's your thing, listening to some positive podcasts, whatever that looks like, it is very, very important to take a step back right now and make sure that you are over communicating with others. The fact that you are reaching out to your clients, the fact that you're reaching out to friends and family, and just doing those check-ins just to make sure that, how are you doing? What's going on? What are you thinking about? Is there something that I can do to help you out? Anything along those lines goes a very, very long way. And think about the impact that it's having to the other person, just to hear your voice on the other end of that line. We don't think about that sometimes, but just those words, the sound of your voice, the way that you message something, it can be life-changing. And it is life-changing right now in these.
It is, especially right now.
Especially right now. So we have just a moment. I wanted to ask you if you could share with us what you are grateful for right at the moment.
I am grateful that I am not going through this alone. I'm grateful for the community that I have through, Rockstar networking. I'm thankful for the blood, sweat, and tears, and lots of money and time and effort that went into that to build that. And at first there wasn't, nobody was showing up saying, list my house. There wasn't that return on that. But now that we've built a community, and there has been so many times that's hearing somebody else's struggle, hearing somebody else and how they overcame something has powered me through the problem that I'm going through in my business. And that's the power of a community, or any community that we have here. So I'm thankful that I'm not going through and feeling the weight of this alone. I am thankful, and I have, it's weird because you can almost feel peaceful but afraid all at the same time.
Mm.
I feel at peace knowing that I'm not alone, and that all of us are doing this together, and that we're going to get through this, and that this will teach us something, and that we will come out stronger in the end. And that's what I'm hopeful for. That's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for my family. I don't know how many of your viewers have children at home, but to be responsible for, my husband working at home, and when I'm working at home in another area, I've got 3 kids on different computers doing schoolwork, and we're having to,
Mm.
be teachers, and all of this is happening. I mean, this is a completely different whirlwind. And honestly, on Monday, my heart was going out to all of the full-time moms out there that just had this very weighty. If I was teaching somebody else's child, I don't feel like I would be as, but when it's yours and you're like, oh my goodness, you know what I mean? Like it's a weighty responsibility. Teaching is not my gift. It's not the world that I'm in at all. It's not what I'm comfortable with, but it's been life-changing to have this all switch to virtual school at home. And it's been a very, very tough thing. And that's been my priority. But I'm thankful for the extra time I've gotten with my children, and thankful for, that, because it did slow down, and we all got to take a little bit of a pause and a little bit of a break, and got to do something, or clean out something, whatever we chose to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thankful for.
Wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. This is also going to show so many people that they're capable, and that they have the capacity to do so much more than they give themselves credit for. So when we're forced into a situation to either learn something new, to expand our knowledge base, to be able to take care of kids and educate the kids and still run a business and all the many different aspects of life in general, you have so much ability to do. And one of the things that I've learned over the years is when fear enters my mind, and understand that you have a choice of how you accept that, and not allowing that to cripple you from taking action. But when I do act, when I do take action, when I do something for others, when I get into whatever it is I need to do, that is the salve that I need, that helps me overcome that fear and that pain. So for everyone listening, do take action. Figure out what your priorities are. Act on them. Schedule your time. This is a very challenging situation that we're dealing with, clearly, but you've got the capability, and we will move past this. There's no question about that. Mostly just remain healthy, remain optimistic, because there are good days ahead.
Yeah.
Any last words that you wanted to share, Erica?
Well, I just wanted to tell everyone about Rockstar Networking is doing, we're switching to virtual networking. So that's going to be exciting. So we're still going to have our once a month meetings. It's going to be on the 7th. You just register at Eventbrite like you did before, get your ticket, and then you will get an email with what to do. We're going to be doing virtual networking on the Ohio platform. So it gives you another platform to reach out with, and they'll send you emails and steps of how to set that up, and exactly what to do. So we're going to be the most important thing to us and to me, and is my clients' health and safety, and my networkers and my rock stars' health and safety. And so we're trying to do our part, that everyone stays safe, but also not lose the connection. And I think I want to encourage everyone. because you said something earlier that is, everybody says it's almost cliche to be kind and all of these, do something for somebody else, but especially in this time, you can rock somebody's world this time. And I just want to encourage you, same way with being kind and everything in a crisis moment, but also networking in a crisis moment. Maybe we won't have that much of attendance because people aren't into it, but the people that are there and the people that continue to reach out and continue to connect with people during this time, because whoever else is on here needs it or they wouldn't be on here, and they're in a crisis time themselves. And I feel like if you're looking to make connections and you're looking to build relationships with people, it's going to be done on a huge scale right now during this crisis time. So
true. So true. I couldn't not have said that better. I am really excited about this virtual event coming up, and stay healthy again, stay optimistic, do be kind, and please be patient with others right now, and just stay well. Thank you, Erica, so very much for joining me today. I appreciate it. And I do look forward to seeing you again soon. I know we'll be together in person here as soon as possible.
I can't wait to hug again.
Oh my gosh. Have a fantastic, yes, have
it's
a fantastic.
so hard for me not to hug everybody. I'm like,
I know you're a hugger. But anyway, have a fantastic rest of the week. And for the rest of you, stay safe. And we look forward to joining you on the next coffee chat. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.